Hello, friends. YouTube says we're live, so we're live. Welcome to the last 3 on Thursday for 2023. Can you believe the year is over already? Like, it's crazy. It's so crazy. Anyway, if you haven't seen, there are some fantastic sales going on with the Boxing Day sales. Boxing Week sales, rather. So if you haven't, you might want to check those out. Of course, it is the end of the December stamp of the month, and Skylark is going away. Yeah, lots of different things. End of the year, all that sort of stuff. So, I just want to show you this. Look at that little cutie pie. Okay, come on, focus. There we go. This is the little keychain that I got from my daughter of my granddaughter for Christmas. Hello, Rhonda. Thanks for joining me. My Christmas was good. I hope yours was as well. And thank you for being here almost every week. I appreciate you. All right, so it is our last week for WoW cards. And we're not going to start with the WoW card because, you know, it's the most difficult. So we're going to start with the easiest card, and I will put a link to the Cricut file for tonight's cards because they are Cricut cards. I wanted to make it super easy because we want to craft, but we don't really want to craft, but we do, right? Like, I'm not the only one that feels that way, right? So, with that being said, the very first card of the night is... oh my gosh, it's this one. Look at this card. Look at that. It's done. Card 1, done. So this is a print and cut file. The colors are coordinated. So we have, if I remember correctly, we have Linen, Pacifica. This is supposed to be Lagoon, but it doesn't look very Lagoon to me, printer-wise. Periwinkle and Charcoal. Maybe Pewter. I think Pewter because it's a retired color. So, all previous colors, it's all print and cut. It's one layer. You print it, it scores it, you take it off, you fold it, your card is done. If you wanted to, you could put something here to accent those a little bit more, but I like it without. And yeah. So I made this card and I realized that maybe you would want something that you could actually do something with, crafty wise. So this is still in the file. You'll still get this. You can still make this. But yeah. It's an unofficial card for the day. Here, we'll put it over here for right now. There we go. All right. So that being said, that one doesn't really count. So let's move on to the next one. This is going to be our card number 2. Our theme today for the non-WoW cards is butterflies. So I did not do anything on the inside of these. This card was designed specifically to be able to use up scraps. I have a boatload of scraps, and you could easily change the sentiment on this or just have a boatload of thank you cards ready to go and just use up your scraps. It's so easy. So let's do this. I have everything done, it's just not sorted because all of my sorting bins are being used for other things right now. Alright, so let's do, we have a card base. We have a different scrap. Oh, that one, not great for a thank you. But these both come from the same paper pack, the Celebrate You. what is this called? Celebrating You. And yeah, it is pretty simple. So this is Close to My Heart ribbon that's been retired forever ago. That one will be long enough. And so yeah, it's going to be super, super simple. Let's go ahead, and I had a couple extra pieces, so I just put them on there. All right, I'm just going to use 2 little things of score tape just because it's easily available. Right, you want to burnish that down. Now, if your ribbon is bunched up like this, one of the things that you can do is go to the thrift store and get a hair straightener and keep it for your crafty area. Clean it well, right? Because it's going to probably have hairspray gunk on it or whatever. And then use that to straighten out your ribbons and such. So this little kink down here at the bottom, I'm just going to go ahead and use that to our advantage. Right, because there's already that fold in there. So I'm just going to pull this tight, but I want to make sure I'm not bending the cardstock. And then I'm just going to trim off this extra. Right, and then before we do any bows or anything, that might have been just a little bit too tight. Okay. I forgot to grab out my foam tape. And then we're just going to do foam tape. Use my non-stick scissors. And I'm going to make sure to go over that ribbon. Just kind of bend that tape around the corner there. And this card really does go together so fast. I'm using the roll instead of a billion little pieces just to help the speed of the video. Mostly for the pulling off purposes, but all right. So now we're going to take off, we're not going to take off everything, we're just going to take off around our butterfly here. just these 4 pieces. Can you do all of them? Yes. However, I recommend no. Just so that you have the ability to make sure that it's all done nicely. And it doesn't stick to you every single second. Let's do our inside. And you could easily, if you have it, you could add the same scrap here that you have inside, if you have it. Again, I was trying to use up tiny scraps, and so I didn't cut down any larger pieces to do the inside as well. Alright, then we're just going to take our ribbon, and we have this tiny spot right here that's already kind of squeezed in as if it had a bow on it or not on it. So we're just going to go in that same spot. And then just pull, and it pulls very nicely. And then just trim. And trim. And we're done with card technically number 2. Right. Super simple. Love it. Alright, next card is another print and cut, and it is this, and we have some space, some depth here underneath. Be your own kind of beautiful. So this card, we're actually going to do a little bit of trimming because I wanted to show you all of the bits. So we have our card base, and then we have our inside as well. So we are going to, and this is going to be a little bit off screen, I do apologize. I brought the camera in a little bit closer and didn't think about this part. So we are trimming our card base down to 4 by 5.5. So we're not changing the length any, we're just trimming off a 1/4 inch, obviously from the side that's already open. Don't trim it off the side that's folded because that would be silly. Alright, and then on the inside, we're going to trim that to 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. Okay. So this is the print and cut file. Cuts just like this. It's ready for you to adhere. And what we're going to do, just so that we make sure that everything is where we want it to be, is we're going to put our piece down, right? We're going to kind of line it up. We're going to take a pencil, right? So here is the edge of this piece, and we're just going to come in just a smidge, and we're going to take our piece. In this case, it is a wood grain paper that it's just over an inch, strictly because my scrap piece was just over 2 inches, and so I just split it in half. And I'm going to add our adhesive. And again, this could be done with any scrap, any color, any size. Well, not quite any size, but almost any size. And we're just going to line up with that mark. It's going to be hidden, so we don't need to worry about that. And of course, you want to make it at least mostly straight. Trim off just that a little bit. And let's go ahead and add our inside just to give this a little bit of weight while we put our front on. Now we do want to add some foam tape, and I did put those on. Again, I had the little bits, but I did pre-cut some pieces to make it a little bit faster. You guys, if you've seen my videos before, you know that I tend to add more than what might be necessary when it comes to foam tape. That's a little bit long. But I want to be absolutely certain that my card is going to arrive in the same popped up pretty shape than it was when I sent it off. It looks like I was one short on my pieces. And I could not have really done that any better, because that's essentially the end of my roll. Alright, so that's burnish and peel. Oh goodness. So hopefully you all have had a wonderful winter season. Christmas, Hanukkah, Yule, Kwanzaa. I know that there are more, and I do not know all of them. Regardless, I hope you've been able to enjoy time with those you love. Rhonda says, pretty cards. Thank you very much, Rhonda. Okay. So we are going to line this up. Let's see if this, oh, that fits perfectly. Too far. Alright, so we just want to line this up on the top and the folded edge. fall to the right edge. And then look at that. The next card is done. Actually, you know what? Let's add some bling to it, because why not? Probably have an open one of these. So these are the clear sparkles. And if you don't have a whole lot of embellishments, or you don't want to purchase a ton, my suggestion would be these clear sparkles and the bitty sparkles. And of course I did not grab. There we go. So in case you are not familiar, these are the regulars and these are the biddies. So you can kind of see a size difference there. So, and then these ones are smaller than the end of a pencil. All right. Look at that. Done with the next cards. And these do pop off the edges of the cards, but they are within a full card size. So they will fit in the envelope. I just thought it was fun to have it come off the edge of the card itself. Look at that. We have 3 cards done. Alrighty, it's 24 minutes. Done. Thanks. All done. No, just kidding. So now we get to do our wow card. I'm going to move these off because I am going to need all of this space. I wanted to give you guys some simple, easy cards to do that are beautiful and, you know, work really well with pretty much anything that you have. So this is my next card. I don't have anything really on the front, right? Obviously there's paper there, but I don't have any real designs because this was my mock-up card to make any changes, any goofs, any whatnot, right? Because when you're making something, you have to make one the first time. And I didn't mess it up too much, so I was able to actually use it as a card. So this is a 6x6 card. So we're going to open it like this, and we have space to write here on the left hand side, which I know is different than normal. But then we have a little pull tab just so that I could easily show without having to stamp or anything to say pull here. And then we're going to just pull. Isn't that so fun? Obviously it works a little bit better if you have it in your hand, but I wanted to show you. And I thought about putting stuff on each of these little pieces, and then I decided no, because it's just fun like this, right? You can just sit here and do this forever. So let's go through this. All right, so our card base is 6 by 12. right? Obviously, it's a 6x6 card. Okay, so I have to unbury everything from all the embellishments I just put over there. All right. So we have all our pieces. So we have our 6x6 card base. We have two pieces of cardstock, in this case sapphire, and one piece of B&T. This is the Celebrating You paper pack again, and these are all 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. Okay, so we need that. Right, Wanda? Rhonda, it is a wow card. I was combining words there. We have a piece of White Daisy that is 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. Yep. This is going to be the inside left side for a place to write. Okay. Then we have no, stop. All right. Then we have a piece that is 3.5 by 12. We're going to do scoring and cutting with this piece. Okay. And then we have another piece, and this one's obviously White Daisy. Another piece of White Daisy that is 2 by 7. And hopefully this works, because these are all 1 3/4, but that 2 by 7, we're going to make that one a little bit bigger, so it should fit. If it doesn't, we'll just trim it down. All right, so we have more sapphire pieces. All right, so we have a 2 by 4.5. We have two pieces that are 1 3/4 by 3. And we have two pieces that are 1 3/4 by 5 3/4. Okay, we're almost done with our pieces. We have a sapphire piece that is 2 3/4 by 5 7/8. And then this piece is just slightly smaller than that. 2 5/8 by 5 3/4. And we might have to trim these two down. It will depend on how everything lays down. And then we have 8 pieces, and you can do these in a variety of pieces. They don't have to all be the same. But we have 8 that are 1 3/4 by 1 3/4, and 4 that are 2 by 1 3/4, plus our little pull tab. I probably will pull some scraps, because what I did is underneath here I built up some height to help make this fairly solid. All right, so let's bring in, actually, before we bring in the scoreboard, let's glue some of this together so it has a little bit of time to dry. We are going to use the liquid glass, because that will give us the sturdiness that we want with this card, and that we need. It's not just a want, we definitely need. Okay. So I do plan on putting more decorations on the front of this card than on my sample card. I did not do a border on this because of all the other decorations that we're going to do. So that is why there is no sapphire piece on here. One of the other things that we actually want to do that I realized after the fact on the sample card is, so we currently have this scored at 6 inches, right? We want to add a little bit of space in there. So I'm going to move my card so that my score line is between the 6 and 6 1/8, and then I'm going to add another score. And then I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to do the same thing the other way. So this is now my center 6 mark. And I'm going to, again, move it halfway between, and I'm going to score again. And then one more time in the center. So what that does gives us 3 score lines so that it can move how we need it to move. So right now it doesn't make a difference, but when you look at this card, you can see that it has some thickness to it. Right? It's almost 1/8 of an inch thick. So definitely going to be extra postage on this one. But so we want our spine to be able to accommodate that, so we want to add some scoring for that. And you can kind of roll that now. It'll actually be a little bit easier a little bit later. All right. Let's get these added in here. So if you haven't seen previous videos, then that means you have not seen my love for liquid glass, which I really do. I do love it. It has so many different purposes. But one of the best things that I love about it is it gives a stiff bond to your papers so that they are not nearly as flexible as they are with a tape runner. Don't do that. And so that means that when you hold things up, they will be more flat than curved like this, if that makes sense. plus it gives you time to move your pieces when you have very small margins. Using your bone folder, you'll spread that glue so you have no large bumps like you may have seen in the past on other projects, and it gives a wider bond because it spreads the glue. So instead of it being just a line of glue, it is now a flat pond of glue. Alright, so this is drying. We are going to set that off to the side, and we are going to bring in our paper trimmer. No, we're going to bring in our scoreboard. And we are going to do some scoring. Alright, so our 3.5 by 12 inch piece, we are going to score at 1 moment. Okay, now we are going to score at 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, and 8. 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, and 8. Okay, you are going to put a mark here at 11, and you can do it with your bone folder, not your stylus, or you can use a pencil. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to rotate our paper to be here, and we are going to score only down to that mark that we just made. Okay, so we are going to score at 3/4, and if you go past that line, it's okay. It won't show. It'll look like it's going to show, but it's not going to show, I promise. And then 2 5/8. Okay, 3/4 and 2 5/8. Okay, so we're going to set this off to the side, and we're going to bring our other score piece in. So this is 2 by 7, and we are going to score at 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, and 6.5, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, and 6.5. And that's it. Our scoring is done. Alright. Paper trimmer. I'm going to pull this in here, and I'm going to work at the bottom, simply so I can have the whole board on my desk, because my desk does not extend further this way than, much further than what you can see. Okay, so on this piece, we are going to cut 2 pieces. Okay, sorry, I was reading my notes and it was confusing. 2 pieces that are 1/2 inch. Right, that's where our little mark comes into play. And then we are going to rotate our piece, and we're going to cut that at 1 3/4, the whole remaining length. Okay. And then, actually I should have put this in opposite order. So on this large block, right, we have a large block, we have scores, and then we have a small block. On this large block end, we are going to trim off about it says about 1/8 of an inch. I feel like that's small, but I guess we'll see. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. And that's all the trimming that we have to do, unless we need to trim down those pieces that I mentioned before. All right, let's fold and burnish our pieces. We want to make sure that we have a good burnish on these. We also need to make sure that these are burnished really well. I just said that twice. We need to make sure that these are straight. So when we're folding it, we're also making sure that they are lined up on both sides of our piece. So it's really very simple. And honestly, you will probably do it faster than me, and that's okay. I'm slow because I am talking and trying to teach at the same time. All right, so then this might seem complicated, but I promise you it's not. It looks complicated, and the person that receives this card will think that it's complicated. But once you get it all put together, you will not think it's complicated. All right, and then these as well. See that little mark we made? It's going to be back behind anyway. So all right. I wrote these notes to myself yesterday, and they could be better. All right, so this is our 2-inch piece. So we need our 4 pieces that are 2 by 1 3/4. We need our liquid glass. All right, so we are going to glue. We're going to start on the top one, and then we're going to move down. So we're going to add glue. All right, you want to add enough, but not too much. You do not want to go over the score line. And you're going to want to make sure that it is straight. Okay? Pretty simple. Only glue on the white rectangle. And it might help if you fold it over like that so you don't accidentally go over your score line. Still making sure that you are all lined up. I almost just glued that the wrong way. I might need to give these just a bit of a trim because I am not getting them perfectly straight. Okay. So we are not putting glue here. We are not putting glue here. Okay. There is that one. Now, let's go ahead and look at our thing to make sure we're going to do this correctly. Okay. Always good to double check, right? Look at that. I double checked and then I second guessed myself. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and glue these on. So these will go on oh my gosh. Yes, so these pieces cover up those marks that we may have accidentally made. Okay. We are only gluing this part. We're not gluing the flaps right now. Only the flat middle part. And we're going to glue this all the way at the very bottom. And we're making sure that our flaps are able to wrap around, but they are not being glued currently. Okay. Same thing on this side. Center rectangle. And all the way to the bottom. Okay. This is where these squares come in, and we're going to do the exact same thing, except we're starting at the bottom, so to speak. Again, making sure that they line up. Making sure that you don't accidentally glue one current to the one prior, because you do not want to accidentally make it not work. Although I suppose that would be a good gag, but that would be a lot of effort. I guess some people do put a lot of effort into some of those gags and pranks and stuff. Not something I do, but you know, everybody has their own thing that they like. This part right here is the longest part. And it's not even like long, it just is the longest. I keep grabbing for the paper because I'm so used to putting the glue onto the paper first and then attaching that it just is throwing me off to do it the other way around. This card design does come from Tanu. I honestly don't know how to pronounce the name correctly, so I do apologize in advance. Okay, so here is going to be the confusing part. We are going to flip all of these up like this. Okay, go away, Mr. Mosquito. Which in itself is kind of funny because I didn't plan that, but that actually makes it a whole lot better in the end. Okay, so we're going to take our 2 by, what is this? 4.5 piece, and we're going to attach that there. We are going to take, here, let's flip these up so that it makes sense. We're going to take our 1 3/4 by 3 and we're going to glue them there. And then we're going to take our 1 3/4 by 5 3/4 and we're going to glue them here. So we're going to make sure to not go over the score lines on these larger pieces. Okay? So let's do this one first. Now remember that our cardstock is two-toned. The back side is 10% lighter than the front side. So you kind of get a 2-for-1 color-wise. And it's okay that it doesn't line up down here because that's going to be covered. And this adds stability and color to our piece. So you don't have to use cardstock. You could use some pretty paper. That is up to you. I like the cardstock paired with the liquid glass, gives a lot of strength because the cardstock is obviously thicker than the B&T paper. So remember to not buckle over. You want your piece to be able to fold over completely without buckling anything. Honestly, we're most of the way done at this point. I know you may not think so, but for real, I promise. I guess I should say that there are some exceptions to the two-tone color. And that would be that the white daisy, the black, and the French vanilla do not follow that rule. Those are all just single color cardstocks. Okay. So this is what we have so far. Now, if you wanted to, you can instead make these out of the same color that you're going to cover with, so that they hide a little bit more. Or you can leave them white. I made the mechanisms white because that way if something cracked between, that it would look purposeful. I guess, lack of a better explanation. Okay, so here is our piece, right? And just to kind of give you a difference, I guess it doesn't really sound different, but if I hold this like this, right, you can see this bends. If I hold this like this, it's a much wider bend. Yes, it still bends because this card is heavier, but it's not the same bend. You are not getting up on my desk, mister. Go. Okay. So we are going to put these in here. And, you know, maybe I should have chosen a different color for these. But that's okay. And look at that. That fits perfectly. Love it. All right. So we're going to open these up. We're going to add glue here. And when we glue them down, we are going to, you know what, I'm going to trim this because it's going to drive me nuts. It's not going to show. It honestly is not going to show at all. But I'm going to know it's there. So we're going to add glue on there, and then when we put it down, we're going to make sure that our top is at or within the top of our sapphire. Same with the bottom, at or in. And because there is a little bit of space on either side, we can have our tabs overhang just a smidge. And if I had thought about it a little bit more, I would have put this on the other side. But what I can do is I can bend that. So I just add another crease on there so that that sticks out just a little bit less. And it'll still slide. Okay, so we're going to do the outside pieces first because that's how you make sure that this fits in the center and you can get it centered correctly. Hello, Red. Thank you. I'm so glad that you think this is relaxing. I do a class every Thursday. It's called 3 on Thursday. And I do 3 or more cards. Usually it's more, actually. More often than not, it's more than 3. Alright. So we're just going to press this for a few seconds because it is a liquid glue. It needs a few moments to do its thing. Right? And then we're going to come over and do the same on this side. Normally, my 3 on Thursday cards are not this intricate, but this was my thank you prize. Those are not the right words, but it's my thank you for reaching my little mini YouTube goals, subscribers. Alright, and you want to make sure that these are straight as you can make them, because our mechanisms are straight. We're going to be pulling straight, and if you have these crooked, it's not gonna pull, it's not gonna work. Alright, so we did those 2. This one, we're going to put glue only here. No place else. Just right here. And then we're going to fold all of them over. Right, so they're all sticking up. We have this flat. And then we are going to center this. Let's do this way. And this, like the others, should fit between the top and the bottom. So we're just going to give that a press. Alright, friends, we are like 99% done. Alright, so here is our next piece. So this is going to line up to the bottom. However, clearly it is too long. So we need to come down and we need to chop off about this much. Alright, so paper trimmer. How much is about this much? Two and a half. All right, let's test. Perfect. All right, so this one is already 2.5. Oh, it's not 2.5. All right, this one. Let's make this 2 3/8. Perfect. All right. And we're going to attach this piece. Next, I'm going to use my stapler, and I'm going to staple my ribbon onto here. Okay, I don't need my ribbon to be super long, but I do want to make sure that the flat side of my staple is on the bottom, so it doesn't catch on anything we don't want it to. So I'm just going to center it here. Okay, so it's nice and secure that way. And you know, I might actually, let's actually go ahead and put another piece on here just to be safe. Oh my gosh, that piece is almost perfect. Just take off a hair. Don't mind the cat hair. Right, this piece here is optional. It's just to make sure this doesn't catch. So if you wanted to, you could have stapled it onto your sapphire cardstock before you put the B&T paper on there. So that it could be hidden underneath that paper, so it would have been between. So if you had attached it here before this was on, then it would be, the staples would be sitting on top of here and then under this paper. Or you can just add another layer and it makes it even more sturdy. Okay, so when we attach this, we're going to line it up to the bottom. That's kind of a given, right? And we are gosh, this looks not straight. Okay, so we are going to, we add glue here, and you can see clearly that there is an indent here, right? And so that is where I added scrap paper to before. So I think I'm going to do that again, just to make things even. So we're going to do not more than 3/4 of an inch. Oh, that's too big. You know what? That is good enough. Alright. I'm not sure why I'm doing more, but I just want to make sure that we have enough, just in case it needs more. I was doing those extra slices in there just to make it easy to count, measure. Alright, we are doing liquid glass still. There we go. So that It is nice and strong. So these pieces will not show unless someone tears apart your card, which hopefully they won't do, right? So I'm just trying to build this up a little bit so that there is less of a dip underneath where those bands are to where we need to glue, because we need to glue here and then on here. Okay, we're going to bring in our pencil again, and we're just going to, here, let's flip over to the back side just in case we do something stupid. All right, so we have, this is the end of our papers. So we are going to come down, let's say a 1/16 of an inch or so, maybe 1/8 of an inch. And we're just going to do a quick line, reference line for ourselves. Okay, so we are going to add glue on this white bit, glue on this white bit, right, because that will pull. And then this piece also pulls, right? So we do not want to go above that line with our glue, but we want to come all the way to the bottom. And we do want to add glue to our ribbon as well, just to add even more stability to that. And then we need to make sure that we have this the right way, and that we are coming all the way to the bottom. And this should line up with our base sapphire piece that we have. So we want to give that pressure. So that everything attaches. Alright, I'm not going to pull this open just yet. I'm going to let that sit. But let's come to the front. And you can see how this is kind of alligatoring, right? That's why we added those extra scores, which are easier to do now that we have that solid backing with all those pieces inside. So I'm just kind of rolling that score forward. And so still a little bit, but not nearly as much. And so we can do the one on the front as well. And there, we have almost no alligator. Perfect. To decorate, we're going to stick with the no stamping theme of the night, and we're going to use the sticker sheet. We have balloons. Alright, let's bring in, excuse my arm, bring in our clear acetate. because we know that that helps so much. Let's see, celebrating you. We can do birthday wishes. I kind of like that. Bring in these other balloons. Kind of put those behind. Maybe add some presents. Celebrating you, birthday wishes. What do you think? Do we add happy birthday? We could add hip hip hooray. What about make every moment count? And then if you really didn't want to have a whole lot of room to write anything inside, you could always put this big happy birthday sticker on the inside. Ooh, but we could do the let the fun begin on the inside. I like that. All right, so let's do this. I think I'm going to pop up the celebrating you. So here for a second. We need our big balloons. Sorry, that was probably kind of loud. So this, I kind of want it to look like it's going up. Oh, maybe this, yeah, let's do this way. Like that. Maybe we should have popped that one up. Too late now. All right, grab some foam tape. Yes, normally I would powder this. I'm going to put enough foam on here that we won't need to. celebrating you. Make every moment count. This up. It's a good thing we're putting it right on the edge because goodness. All right, let's try this again. Just a little bit here, just in case. Come on now. Perfect. All right, let's do the let the fun begin. Be on the inside. Voila. All right, and then we'll grab our little tag and we'll pull. So one of the things that we didn't do is we did not reestablish our burnishing, so let's do that right quick, and we're just going to go over each one time. And voila. That is our card completed. How fun is that? So we have our super fun, and see, I needed to adjust that a little bit more. So we have our wow card. We have our beautiful butterfly card. We have our thank you card. And our butterfly sympathy card. So those are our cards for today. Thank you all so very much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. If you have liked this video or been inspired by anything in it, I would really love it if you gave me a big old thumbs up and maybe even shared it to your crafty friends. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the new year with new cards every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, right here at Crafters Northwest. Thanks guys so much. See you later.